is your argument now? The Quran claims there'll be no contradictions in it as an evidence that it's from God.
No, please try to listen. My argument is
trying to work your bloody argument out, mate.
Yeah, please.
That's not your argument.
Hamza, please let me finish. What I'm saying was that Quran mentions that if it had been from any other source from God, it would have a lot of contradictions in it.
Okay.
Okay.
Does it have contradictions?
So no, I don't believe this argument is sound. Okay.
All right. So does it have contradictions?
Yeah.
But
because,
fine, so you
I see. I get his argument. So, but what's he basically saying is this: if there's a book that doesn't have contradictions, then why isn't it the word of God? Basically, that's what you're saying, isn't it?
Even if it doesn't have a lot, and it says a lot, right?
No. So are you saying if a book claims it's the word of God because it contains no errors or contradictions, are you saying that's not an evidence for it to be a book of God?
No, I'm saying that this is not a valid argument.
I can't be bothered.
I
can't work out his bloody argument.
Progress. You just can't make any progress.
He's saying that though. He's basically saying it. I just can't.
He had a minute. He had a minute to present his argument, and all he said is that the claim that the Islam makes is not matched by the evidence. He wasn't making an argument. I was hoping he was going to make an argument, and I was trying to help him to make an argument by saying, okay, what is the evidence that Muslims give? And then you can demonstrate how you think those evidences are unsound or, don't justify the conclusion.
It's just another way of saying Islam is false just because Islam is false. It's like, okay. There's nothing to work with.
It sounded to me he was saying the Quran says that it's proof that it's the word of God because it contains no contradictions or errors.
No, that's exactly what.
And then he's basically trying to say just because the book contains no contradictions and errors, why should that make it the word of God? That sounded like an argument.
That's right. That's what he was saying. Bring him back on. See if he's still here. Bring him back on.
Nah. Academic honesty versus plagiarism. 1 second. Your minute starts now.
Okay, sorry, you made me wait so long. I actually waited patiently. Okay, I want to bring this topic. Bring this topic to you. I want to discuss this claim of perfect design. Okay, so basically, perfect design is an Islamic idea that says all human beings are perfectly designed. Well, the physical evidence, I can't produce documents in front of you or medical reports, but it's generally accepted that there are people that are born deformed, disabled, certain infants living a few days, few months, born with the illness, some dying in stillbirth, and dying in miscarriage. So I want to ask you, as a perfect designer of something, you will use the best material. You will not use damaged or inferior material to design something.
We've heard you. Would you like to respond, Ramsey?
Yeah, very simple. So, you don't like how God created certain things. How does that disprove a creator? First, actually, how about this? Why does God, so for example, would you agree, academic, that there are people who are born blind, correct?
Yes, I'm asking this question. Where is the perfect design?
Academic, hold on.
Because I don't see it. I don't see it.
Academic.
And there's no evidence for perfect design.
Academic, okay, question. Who defines perfection, just to be clear? Who defines perfection?
Perfection would be everyone that is born normal. How is it that you are born normal and healthy, but the next person cannot be? The next person must have a lower life, a lower quality of life, but you are normal and healthy. How is that fair? Where's the perfect design?
Academic.
That God will proclaim, Allah is just, Allah is fair. Where is the fairness when there's so much injustice in the world?
Great.
Where is the equality? The other claim of equality.
Academic honesty. Hold on. Academic honesty. Are you an atheist?
Come on, man. Come on, you snatched it right from me.
Are you an atheist?
Very emotional atheist.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, right. Okay. So for you, God is an imaginary being, so you don't need to get emotional and upset. Yeah. Let Rumsey respond and ask certain questions, and rather than getting more animated, just remain calm. Yeah. And just answer Rumsey's point. Is that okay?
Yeah. So academic, who defines what's normal and what's not normal? Who defines that?
Who defines what's normal and what's not normal?
Yeah.
Basically, you define what's normal and what's not normal.
So it's subjective. Thank you very much. Done. Your entire argument is subjective. Your entire argument is just based upon a subjective perception.
But what I stated to you is objective things.
Academic,
they are objective things. They're not my ideas.
Okay.
They are objective things, things you can view and observe, things that you discover.
Okay,
they're not mere ideas.
Academic, just one second. So, for example, what's an example you think of imperfect design that you think, from your subjective experience, what do you think is an example of imperfect design? And then I want you to explain to me why it is objectively not normal.
What you said, what is imperfect design?
Someone born with one leg, or a baby
born blind,
or something.
Let's say someone's born blind. On what basis do you claim that person is not normal? Yeah, that person's not the same as you and me. Sure, not everyone's the same. But why am I like on a? Why are you putting? How do I say this? Why am I normal and he's not normal? Why can't it be the other way around? What if he
doesn't have full function like you?
What if he
doesn't have full function?
Okay,
in his members or his body or his parts, he doesn't have full function like you.
I didn't say they're this. I agree they're different, but why is one normal, the other one's not normal? Who defines that? Why can't this?
Because you would have full function. You can see, you can hear, you can walk, you can use your hands, you can use your legs. You're living long. You get gray hair.
Academic.
But babies don't even see 2 months of life.
Nick, could you wait till I finish my sentences?
Thousands. I'm not talking 100 babies. Thousands and thousands.
You're muted right now. Just
academic. Just please, you can respond with your non-responses. Just wait till I finish, and then please, okay? I think there's maybe a delay or something. I don't know. Maybe. For example, let's say someone is born with no limbs. Okay, and obviously you and I have our limbs. Okay, what's to stop him from defining us as strange, us as weird? You know, he could say, "Well, look at what the heck you guys got." Those things sticking out of your sides called arms. Those things sticking out of from below called legs. Man, look at me. He could define himself as perfectly shaped and as right. What's to stop him from doing that? He could look at us as weird. I'll tell you what. For example, let's say there are people out there with darker skin than others. How do you define, for example, what's quote unquote imperfect and what's just different? For example, let's say, God forbid, there was someone who decided that those born with black skin, what if they were to claim that, oh, that's something that's imperfect? God, right? Of course, we would never say such a thing, right? What's to stop them from saying that, as opposed to, okay, because I would ask you, do you believe being born with darker skin is an imperfection? Or lighter skin even, right? How about this?
He's probably still talking, doesn't realize he's been muted.
For example, lighter skin doesn't protect you from the sun as well as darker skin. So what if a darker skinned person was to say that lighter skin is an imperfection? What's wrong with that?
Now you're making logical fallacies now. Now you're speaking logical fallacies. As I explained to you, that person doesn't have full function of body like you do.
What's the fallacy?
The fallacy is now you're talking race. When I was talking about disability,
what's the fallacy?
I was talking about design. You're talking about race. You bring
what's
the
the
race
fallacy?
into the.
What's the fallacy?
The fallacy is the race. You're saying the race. How can you not say race?
One second. Flipping heck. Okay, I'm not going to change the subject, but what fallacy did he commit? What fallacy did he commit then?
The fallacy of saying, who is to say that race is not imperfect design?
Hold on. I didn't claim that race.
You didn't claim it. I didn't ask the question.
I didn't claim race defines perfection or imperfection. I'm asking you, what's to stop somebody from defining race, using race as the measuring stick for imperfection? There are many people historically.
You're speaking to a South African.
Oh, actually? Oh, wow. Okay. There's many people.
This whole heritage is based upon whites being superior to black people.
Academic, 1 second. There are many people.
My country now.
One second.
But it's fine.
Hold on.
You can think you are superior in your own mind. It's actually fine.
Academic, just please be just for a second.
Which shows that you're a bigot. You're a bigot.
Academic, just please be quiet. There are many people historically who believed that having darker skin, having more melanin in your skin, or having African descent in your blood was an imperfection. Yeah, there were people that was unanimous across many different societies. Yeah, many right. I live in the United States. That was literally the law at one point, right? Your skin color defined.
But your friend is a bigot.
Hold on.
Your friend is a bigot.
Hold on.
I brought an idea. I never criticized Muhammad or anyone. All I did was I criticized an idea, a claim.
You just really
but your friend is being a bigot.
Your voice, don't you? You really love
being a bigot.
Can I ask a question, please?
You really love the sound of your voice, don't you?
Can I ask a question, please?
Who's talking? Wait.
Academic, I want to ask you a question, if you don't mind.
Who's talking right now? I can't tell who's talking.
Go ahead.
You guys hear me?
Oh, your camera was frozen, I think. So.
Am I audible?
Your camera was frozen, so.
Hey, am I back?
Good,
Can you hear me now? Okay. I want to ask a question to Mr. Academic. So you're saying that a perfect design, if what that would look like, would everybody like it? That would be achieved if everybody were born as a normal person is born, with 2 legs, 2 arms, eyesight, and all of that stuff. So that would be perfection for you, right?
Yes, that should be for perfection. Like I've said, born healthy.
So the norm is perfection. So the norm, as humans were created, the norm for you is, the what like a paradigm example of perfection is, right? I mean that's all we need.
Okay,
so,
I was talking about perfect.
How do you know the norm then? Because for you, you're defining imperfection in terms of what is perfect, and you're saying that what is perfect is the way a normal human is born, and that's all the claim is. It's that human beings.
Even normal. Who defines what normal is? And he had an issue with different people have different statuses in society. At one point, being of African descent meant you had a much lower class in society, according to many places in the world. At one point, yeah.
According to ancient history, Egypt was the greatest nation in Africa.
You're a South. I can't believe you're actually a South African and you're making this argument. People at one point, I don't know what your skin tone is, but if you're not white, at one point,
ask him.
What's your skin tone? Are you of African descent, or are you of African or European descent?
Or Dutch?
Or are you a mix?
Why should I tell you so you can mock me further?
Okay, it doesn't
you can
matter.
Hear my voice. Can't you hear my voice?
I can hear your voice, Academic, but here's the problem. You keep saying, why did God create such people imperfect? There are people out there.
I'm not saying why did God create them imperfect. I'm asking a question. Why isn't there perfect design? That is the question.
Academic, your question is built upon a false premise that you, as an atheist, can define what is perfect and imperfect. There are many people who define darker people of a darker skin tone as being imperfect. Is that imperfection? Yeah,
but really, I think the issue is regardless. Like,
you're bringing race into the game.
This guy just loves the sound of his voice, man.
If you put that point,
keep thinking of Lethal Weapon.
Which shows that you're a racist. You have a secret racism ideas, mindsets.
Academic, man, be quiet, man. Abdurrahman, what are you saying? Sorry, could you? You're going to say
I'm
something.
saying if you put that point about if you put that point about subjectivity aside and who defines the norms and stuff like that, let's put that point aside and let's look at academics' criteria. It seems like his fitra is close to what we believe still. Like, so he's saying the norm is like the perfect design is that normal human who is created without these deformities or deficiencies.
That's imperfect.
Yeah, but then all that means is he sees the default human as a perfect design. so yeah, I mean that's really all that means, right? So now these people born with deformities, they're exceptions, and you're saying that in order for them to be in line with perfect design, they should have been born without these deformities, meaning that you acknowledge that the default way in which the human was created and the default functions that the humans have is a perfect creation. That's perfect design. So regardless of the subjectivity point, your subjective viewpoint seems to be still in line with, the intuition that God created you with, that humans are by default, the way the norm is, that is by default a perfect design. So to make your argument, you're relying on the presupposition, the assumption that humans are perfect in design in order to say that the exceptions that are born with deformities are not perfect because they're not created the way the norm, or the normal humans function.
Like, for example,
so it's like your argument's almost self-defeating. I mean,
so Ramsey, one second. Academic, do you understand that point that Abdurrahman's saying?
I was going to give an example to help.
I understand what he's saying.
So he's saying that
in a perfect creator. You believe in a perfect creator.
That's the point.
Perfect designer.
Academic, one second. If I let's say you find a phone that's broken, okay? Let's say you find the screen is cracked or it won't turn on or whatever, right? How do you know that phone is broken compared to other? How would you even know that phone is broken? How would you know?
You would compare it to others.
Because you know that because you know that this is not how it was designed. It was designed a particular way, and therefore because it doesn't match. It doesn't match the way that this phone, because this phone was designed. You have to establish that. If this phone was never designed, if you'd never seen a phone before, you knew nothing of the phone, you'd have no way to determine whether this was broken, not broken, if it's operational, not operational. You would not know. Or whether it's designed perfectly. You wouldn't know these things unless you started from the basis that you knew it was designed in the first place, or that the likes of it were designed, right? Yeah.
Deformity is a proof that there is no perfect designer. That is enough proof.
Academic. One last time.
That is evidence and proof of a non-existence of a perfect designer.
Okay, academic. One last time. If I find you a broken phone, does that disprove that the phone was designed?
Does it prove that it was designed?
If I find you a broken phone, it doesn't work, it's whatever, there's something wrong with it, does that disprove the existence of Apple, the company that designed this phone?
If it was designed and you found a fault with it the same time, like 30 minutes or 10 minutes after you got it, then it's a default. It's a fault.
No,
a manufacturing fault.
Hold on. I found a phone. I just found a phone somewhere and it's not turning on, or the screen is cracked, there's something wrong with it. And I say,
I'm not denying design, I'm saying perfect design. The claim of perfect design.
Hold on. This phone is, according to you, there are humans born this way and born without limbs and born with no eyesight, and therefore that disproves perfect what's the word, design. That disproves perfect design. Okay, if I find a phone with some things wrong with it, does that disprove that the iPhone was designed by somebody?
Obviously, something happened to crack it, to damage it after it was designed.
Good. So that does
something
not
happen.
Good. So that does not refute, just because you find one or a few exceptions that are different.
What you're talking about is a later deformity, a later disability. That's what you're talking about. But I'm talking about from the inception.
Hold on.
From the start.
Excuse me.
From the design, from the start of the design itself.
Hold on, academic. Hold on. You didn't
That's
see
what
what
I'm talking about.
Hold on.
You're talking about things that happen afterwards.
Bro. Just
Like
be
you
quiet.
get involved in a car crash, or someone shoots you or stabs you.
His voice. Wallahi, it's amazing. It's amazing.
You
Academic. One last time. If we find a phone with some imperfections, I don't know where this was designed. I don't know what it originally looked like. I don't know what happened, right? All I can see, this phone is not working, but the rest of the phones around the world are working, or all my family's phones are working. No one would say, I found a phone that's broken, therefore phones were not designed. Phones were not designed because I found one that's broken, or I found a few that's broken. I have one that's broken, that's cracked. My friend has one over there. It doesn't make it's I don't know. It's slow. It doesn't respond very well. Likewise, there's a human with no legs. There's a human with no eyes. There's a human with no intellect, like you maybe, with all due respect. Okay, that does not negate the existence of a creator. That does not negate that. If you want to claim that those things are quote unquote imperfect, by definition, to claim imperfection, you have to have a standard of perfection. If you want to claim a standard of perfection, which is maybe how you and I are designed, we have 10 fingers, 2 legs, 2 arms, functioning eyeballs and functioning organs and everything. If you want to claim imperfection upon someone, you have to then that necessitates a standard of perfection. And you can't have a standard of perfection as an atheist, because that would then be an admission by you that we are perfectly designed. And that's the point Abdurrahman, may Allah bless him, he was making. I didn't even think of that. May Allah bless you. I didn't think of that, actually. Right? To claim imperfection, you need to therefore have a standard of perfection. And to have that standard of perfection, you'd have to admit that human beings, quote unquote normal human beings, are perfectly designed. And that's, of course, again, that's beyond the point of what do you define as imperfection? Is having darker skin imperfect? Is having no leg imperfect? Where do you draw the line between imperfection, right? If a human being is born with wings, I saw a movie one time. This baby was born with wings. Is that an imperfection? Right? If a human is born with an extra eye, he can see better. He has better vision now. Is that perfection? Is that imperfection? Right? He can see better now. What if a human is born, I don't know, with an extra arm or an extra leg, right? There's no objective way for you to define the distinction between perfection and imperfection.
Ramsey, I don't think you could even, he's muted all this time.
I don't think you understand what I just said.
How do you understand the term perfection, academic?
He's mentioning design. I said perfect. You come
Define
with a totalitarian idea, a totalitarian
define perfect.
Of perfect design. That's a totalitarian idea. It's a rigid idea, which is
One second, Ramsey. Academic, can you define this word perfect?
It's a rigid idea.
Or design.
Can you define the word perfect?
The word perfect, meaning no flaws.
No flaws. So you believe human beings have no flaws?
Can human beings have no flaws?
What do you mean?
While human beings can have physical and emotional flaws, even if they don't have physical flaws, they have emotional flaws.
So give me an example of a perfect human being.
A perfect human being is born normal and healthy. All their body, their limbs.
Born normal and happy. Where? What about
normal and healthy?
What about if they were born black in South Africa? What about if they were born black in Africa 50 years ago in South Africa? Would they be happy?
Ask him, Hamza, ask him.
If they were born in South Africa 50 years ago as black, would they be happy?
50 years ago, why are you mentioning black? Back to racism.
Because in South Africa, you had apartheid.
As you are
and blacks were treated inferior based upon their skin.
As most Muslims are racist, which I've observed.
Ask him
I've observed it. And it's something I've discovered.
So I'm trying to understand how babies are born happy.
Can I have a quick go? Can I have a quick go with academics?
Ask him if dark skin is imperfect. Ask him that question.
Before I want to understand.
Well,
let's try and clarify your. Let's try and clarify your argument here. Academic. Let's try and clarify your argument. Academic. Is that okay? Can I help? Can I help understand? Can I try and understand your argument better? Is that okay? Yeah. So there's two arguments yeah, I see two arguments. The first argument is an argument to say that God does not exist because imperfection exists within the world. Yeah? Would I be correct in categorizing
Now,
that as
my
your first argument?
argument is there's an Islamic idea
So that's the second
or a
argument. But go on.
claim for perfect design.
Right.
All human beings are perfectly designed by Allah. That is the
Yeah.
claim.
So
And there
where's
is
that claim?
evidence
Where's
which
that
you
claim
can
in the Quran?
observe.
What do you define as
Where you can
perfect?
observe.
No.
It's not said in the
Forget
Quran,
about
but
what
it's
he
a
defines as
claim from
perfect.
Muslims.
Academic, where do you find that within the Islamic text? This claim that everything is perfectly
This
designed.
claim I've heard from Muslims. It's not written
Where
in the
do you
Quran nor
find it?
Hadith.
Where do you find it? Have you checked it for yourself?
I never checked it.
Okay, so that's the first thing I would do. I'd check it. The second thing I would do, because there are verses which talk about human beings are created in the best of molds. There's verses about, that Allah's the best of creators. There's verses which talk about how He perfects things. Yeah, perfects. But the issue is that you have to now understand this within the Islamic context or paradigm. So when
why
Islam
only within an Islamic? Why not within an independent, impartial mindset, not
because
favoring any groups,
academic,
not
if you're
favoring
saying,
any systems?
yeah. So the reason why
You need to be impartial. I cannot interpret text according to the religion.
Academic, can I answer your point? Is that okay?
I must interpret it according to impartiality and independence.
Yeah.
Not
So
influence,
academic, let me
not
answer your
choosing
point then.
sides, not bias. That's the way to interpret text.
Okay,
that is a true way to interpret text.
No, that's not so academic. Let's understand this, yeah. So if you're trying to say within Islam makes claim X, yeah, and we see reality, and reality doesn't fit within claim X that Islam makes. Yeah. So what you have to now look at is, does Islam make claim X? Does Islam make this particular claim? So I'm now having to understand from the point of view what Islam says on this issue in order to say, okay, I'm now critiquing what Islam is saying. I'm showing an internal critique, an internal contradiction. So what I'm saying is is that within Islam doesn't say this world is perfect. Yeah. Islam says that the plan of this world is perfect, meaning the things that we perceive from a human subjective perspective as being imperfections are part of a grander perfect scheme. Yeah. That's the point that Islam makes. So even when you have a person who is blind or who has one leg or who has, problems or whatever it is, disabilities one way or another, they're part of a perfect plan of God, and therefore they form a perfect picture of creation. That's what Islam says. Now, sometimes we might not necessarily understand the perfection of creation if we look at a particular pixel of the picture, because we don't have the full picture before us. So that point, therefore, is not an argument against Islam. It's simply a statement that Islam says the overall picture of creation is perfect. God is perfect. God is all wise. We can see some aspects of, the intelligence of creation, the fact that it's designed, etc. We can see some of these aspects of it, but the whole perfect picture of why some people have disabilities, some people don't, we can't necessarily see all of that. But God, who is in this privileged vantage point of view, can see that and tells us as human beings that even if you can't see it, it is perfectly designed. Yeah, perfectly designed by the creator, because the creator had a particular wisdom behind creating it in this particular way. Yeah. So on that basis now, academic, you don't have an argument against Islam.
I have an argument against that idea. That idea is proven false.
Right. Yeah, you've not understood what I said, basically.
No.
Cool.
And whether I say it, whether you say it, doesn't matter. There is evidence to view.
Every time I say
You can
this
view
geezer's
and
name,
observe.
I need to call Linus Morissette. Academic, it's been real. That is the...
Yeah, that was his argument. I don't think was about the fact that the perfection that things are imperfect. He was trying to say Islam claims perfection, and therefore what we see is imperfection,
Yes.
and therefore it's a contradiction with what Islam claims. But in the tafsir
becoming a
of these
theme,
verses,
this.
what's that?
It's becoming a theme.
Yeah,
They're
it is a
eternally
theme. This one.
critiquing without knowing our position.
Yeah, and he admitted it as well. He said he doesn't know which verse or text he's referring to.